From London School towards College, 1959 to 1962. This video deals with 3 years between school and college. When unqualified, I worked in a prep school, a Cram School, 2 special schools and a Remand Home, plus a speller's and electrician's mate's mate. In my family, no one had ever gone to college full-time. My father's younger brothers had studied part-time at Regent Street Polytechnic, London. How to study. Sit at a table in a quiet room. Have no distractions. Read work to be studied. Think about it. Write notes to make connections. Revise work often. Result: pass exams. My study plan, or how I got bad O-levels. Sit at a table in a family TV room, they insisted. They watched TV programs, of course. Keep one eye on work and one on TV. Get work done so can watch TV. Result: fail. In school at 17, I puzzled over a career. Work in a bank, maybe. I was a prefect, and one day I supervised a detention class. I was told to let them go after 20 minutes. As he walked out, a 12-year-old boy just released said, "You know, you're so horrible, you should be a teacher." I thought, now that's an interesting idea. Overall picture. Left school in 1959 with 5 poor O-level GCSEs. Had been a prefect and head of Chaucer House. Played cricket for school team, St Pancras Borough team, and had had trial for London Schoolboys team. Failed. Could touch type circa 20 words a minute. Understood bookkeeping and commerce a little. Had worked at London Zoo catering section as a casual many weekends since I was 14. Had been a sea cadet for 18 months, never on a boat. Was 6 foot 3.5 inches tall, weighed 10 stone 7 pounds, skinny. Had never grasped how to study. Jimmy Edwards, above, was a teacher on BBC's Wacko television school. Copyright belongs to the BBC. I saw teachers all my school days, but never knew how to become one. There was no internet in 1959. Someone said, "Get in touch with Gabbitas and Tring, London." So I wrote and got the name and address of a school in Worcestershire. Wrote back and got a games job. Was okay, but I needed 5 good O-level GCSEs to get a proper teaching job. Now Gabbitas and Tring was a teacher agency. They brought schools and would-be teachers together. I don't remember an interview, but I did catch a train for Great Malvern. From there I joined a coach party of boys for the school. A pre-prep school for boys aged 7 to 11. My job was assistant handyman AM and games helper PM. After 6 p.m. supper I was free to study. I was paid £36 for the term with board and lodging. I had meals with the boys, breakfast 8 a.m, lunch midday, supper 6 p.m. Basically, I was an extra body, a cheap, inexperienced one at that. In the dining room, I was too terrified to talk to the boys during the first week. Then I settled and enjoyed meals. I lost my London accent. I don't remember being given any guidance as to how to deal with the boys. Organise a private study lesson for 20, 10 and 11-year-olds, I was told. 6:30 to 7 p.m. one night. At my own school I had nothing to do with 11-year-olds. To them I was the size of a giant and to be avoided. I had no idea of how to keep order amongst these posh kids, and they knew it. I didn't know what work they were doing. So no work was done. There was uproar. Eventually, the head came in and took over. My classroom management sessions were over. I had failed. I worked happily with the handyman, and I could help with coaching on the field. That was the extent of the experience this school gave me. In the staff room was an emergency fire jacket attached to a rope hanging on the wall. You put it on and glided smoothly down to the ground like this. When a fire alarm went off, I decided to try the fire jacket escape. It was not foolproof. I ended in a heap on the ground and walked round to the entrance only to find the whole school assembled there. Another failure. I was asked to supervise a boy practicing violin. He didn't want to practice and I didn't want to listen to him practicing. He used it as a Tommy gun and then I used it as a cricket bat. It snapped, and that was my final failure. They asked me to leave at the end of term. Back to Camtasia and Thring, who sent me an advert for a school in Scotland. Confident, off went application. Interview offer came. Night train to Scotland, arrived 6 a.m. in snow. I got the job and started 2 days later. This time I was wise to keeping order and lasted 5 months in a Scottish Cram School. Lasting memory, snow, January to April. When their external exams were over, they downsized the staff, and I left. Off to Camtasia and Thring for a third time, this time Oxfordshire. Was required to play indoor and outdoor games with boys and listen to individuals struggling with reading. A school for pupils with behavioural problems. 30 boys and 20 staff. There were 3 class teachers and tons of advice. took supervised teaching lessons, was invited to a staff meeting when policy was discussed. This place was marvellous. I stayed there for 18 months, ran after class sessions using plaster of Paris moulds, made and painted tons of them, with boys of course, ran a gardening session, and together we made a sunken garden, and there were lots of things we did. Time off in the village pub. I spent many an evening at the village pub playing bar billiards. I became quite good at it. Another time I went to the cinema in the local town to see the film King of Kings. The return bus left at 10:32. I missed it and was left with a 6-mile walk back to the school. I did get a car, but I had no lessons and no license and no insurance. After driving a short way on a deserted country road, I drove back to the parking lot, but didn't remember the brakes. Repairing the wall cost me a lot. I sold the car before I could have any more accidents. Neon sign repairer. January 1962, I got a job as a neon sign erector's mate's mate, which translated into the man who carried the ladders. We'd go to a shop with a broken sign. I put up the ladder, the necessary ladder. The mate carried the tools in, and the electrician climbed the ladder and fixed the broken neon sign. For me, it wasn't a challenging job. It was supposed to be a high money earner. It wasn't. One day, the job was to place the strip light on the clock hands of the clocks on the Greenwich Clock Tower. All the way across London to Greenwich, the electrician and his mate had great fun in teasing me about going into the bosun's chair. This was to be let down from the top of the tower to the clock face. In spite of being that far up, all I had to do was to wire the neon strip in place on the hour hand, so I did it. I'm not sure if I would do the same, be so foolhardy today. If you look on the left here, there it is, going down from the top. That's what I sat in. That's what I fixed the clock face with. When I went back years later, they'd removed the neon strips on the clock. You could still see the time, but not at night. Another special and Julie Remand Home. I spent a term working at a boarding school for boys with very low IQs. I had my own class and could work to a syllabus. It was interesting work, but the class would stare at me, not laughing, when I made one school with a dedicated staff of teachers and carers, but I was off to college that September. During that hot summer holiday, I worked in a junior remand home in London. I did 5 weeks there and was an extra body. I'm not sure I learned anything except about keys. I certainly didn't pick up information about teaching there. Thank you for watching. Do please subscribe or comment or both. I'm Jack Barnett, 21.